And we can build these memorials and we can tell these things to our kids. It's of, what we talk about and what we give airtime to is of primary importance to what we're going to pass on to the next generation. And this is the crazy thing. Before I even go into that, I just want to again remind, this is not just for families. If you're out there and you're single, you tell your story. Tell your story to your friends. Tell your story to your siblings. Tell your story to whoever you can. But we're applying this today to the next generation. The crazy thing to me is you can forget these things. And that's the story of Israel we see throughout Scripture. It can be forgotten. It's crazy. So we got to rehearse them, retell them, record them. I know for me, I was on a missions trip to Nicaragua in 2009. Josh and Kelly Steeper were on the trip. Josh's brothers were on the trip with us. Kyle Chong, if you guys know him, he was with us. And we went to Nicaragua, and we were doing mobile medical clinics with doctors, helping people get medicine they wouldn't otherwise have. And we did a lot of praying for people, because a mobile medical clinic, as Patrick can probably tell us, can only accomplish so much. And so we did a lot of praying for people. And every day, I was writing down, blind eyes opened, deaf ears opened, a tumor the size of a golf ball disappeared off this woman's leg. The doctor had seen it and felt it herself, and 2 minutes later couldn't find it. Like story after story like this, day after day. I wrote them down. Years later, I picked that journal up. I started flipping through it, and I could not believe the things I had forgotten. It was just like hitting me. Oh my gosh, right? Like story after story. How do you forget this stuff? We have a tendency as people to easily forget details. And there is such value in us recording it, creating a record that can be passed on. And so I would just say to you, maybe create a family history book. Maybe just the facts and also some God stories, whatever. You figure out how you're going to do it, but tell the stories. Because there's something really powerful. It's one thing to read the stories in the Bible. It's another to read the stories in, books of heroes of the faith and missionaries. But there's something about when you hear the story from a person you know and trust. It's very different. And you know what? Maybe you can't think of any great stories of how God's shown up. I'd ask you pray for revelation and ask him to show you, because he's faithfully been carrying all of us from the moment we left the womb, actually before that. And, that's how he works. But if you can't, find some stories, find somebody else's story, and tell the story of God.